Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This is our intro. We don't have an intro, so here it is. I like that now. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It's the McDonald's name.
No, it's ba-ba-ba-ba. But this is
loving it.
ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Crusty salad.
Productions, man.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Crusty salad productions.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Crusty salad.
Yay.
Yippee.
Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome.
To this video. We're just going to talk a bit about what it was that we were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
And where we're at with our short film that we're making.
Yeah.
We were kind of thinking about the reasoning behind why our main character is dead. Well, not dead, but why she's trapped
in the place that she's in at the moment.
Yeah, like why? Because there's lots of different interpretations of the afterlife and what happens after we die, and we were just talking about like death and what happens after and what we want to happen after, I suppose, and how people like to believe that.
Yeah. Their own philosophy of what happens after death.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that wants to believe that there is something and that there is like some sort of justice going on, that it's not just like you live and then you die and that's it. But some people...
Yeah, I mean, my own perspective is I'd like to think that there was nothing, but it's too simple. Life is not simple.
No, yeah.
Life doesn't work like that. So there's in a way, to me, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
Because it's like stuff just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
If there wasn't, it would just be more peaceful if there was nothing.
If it was just like a void.
Just.
But me, that would panic me so much if it was just a void. If it was all for nothing, kind of. So I suppose we were just talking about that, and then we got on to like mainly the topic of why our main character, she doesn't even have a name yet, but why she is in the position that she is and if she's being punished. Because obviously she's not in an ideal position.
No.
I mean, she's stuck between having to watch everyone get on with their lives and live happily, but she can't. She's just stuck. Yeah,
she's stuck in a place where she can't do nothing. She's simply out of options.
It's like a space between. That was one of our first ideas for the title of the piece, of calling it Between or In Between or something
between.
Because she's kind of between that level of like being alive and being present in her life before she died, but also not being able to do anything, not able to change anything. Like, this isn't a regular ghost story where the ghosts can flick on light switches and stuff like that. We took a lot of inspiration from the show School Spirits, where the girl is stuck and she doesn't know how she died. But yeah, like about the reasonings, I kind of thought that she was being punished. Potentially because she killed herself and passed on the suffering to those around her, and kind of playing with that idea.
Yeah, and then kind of combating it. It's like, to get to a point where you want to die so badly, it goes against every human instinct, and it just wouldn't feel, I suppose, right in a way to do that.
A lot of times in shows and stuff, it is presented as like this awful, evil, but also quirky thing. It's like you should never commit suicide because of other people around you. And I feel like that's such a backwards lens to have, because like, what is it in like the Bible? It's viewed as a selfish act.
Yes, it's counted as murder as well.
The idea that only God can take and give life, and you've taken that away from him and you've put it into your own hands, and that's why it's a sin. Overall, like the idea that kind of because you chose to kill yourself, you're inherently a bad person because it's selfish for you to leave everyone else. And it's just kind of like, hang on a minute, chill, okay?
there's got to be a human element to it, because it's like, this isn't necessarily such an evil thing to do. It's a bad thing, but in a sad way.
Yeah. But also, I don't think our character is inherently evil at all.
No,
I think that she's
human.
Yeah, she's human. She's morally grey, and I think that kind of if this purgatory like state is her being punished, then finding something for her to be punished for just wouldn't really work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work, nor would it feel right.
Yeah. So we kind of got to talking about potentially not having a reason for her being there. What was it? You said something about things have to make sense.
Yeah, things have to make sense. There has to be a reason for everything to do with the afterlife.
Yeah. But we kind of thought, but what if it doesn't make sense? Because it's such a human thing to want things to make sense, and for want to feel that connection, and to want to feel all of those things. But humanity is different from the universe, or whatever it is, the afterlife, and how it works. And potentially in this scenario, the afterlife is flawed and doesn't make sense, and not necessarily is punishing her or is praising people who did good things and punishing people who did bad things. It's just, this is the way it works.
It just is.
It just is. There's no good place or bad place. It's just, that's how it happens.
Yeah, there's no reason to it.
Yeah.
You just are.
And it reminded me of The Good Place, and how the afterlife in that show is flawed, and how it's not necessarily a good representation of whether or not you've been a good person or a bad person because of intent. And we just talked a lot about like philosophy and like unintended consequences and all of that. And maybe like before we decided that it was a flawed system, we were talking about the idea that she was flawed, and that how the philosophy worked of whether or not it was like these things are morally wrong, so because she did them she's being punished, or whether it was because she intended good things, she had unintended consequences, like what the physics behind the afterlife in this scenario worked out to be.
And it just worked out better if we done it where obviously all humans are flawed, we all have flaws, but in this inherent case it's basing it off of the system in itself is flawed.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you were a great person and you freed a bunch of slaves and did all of those good things, or if you're a terrible person and murdered and kidnapped a bunch of people. Either way, you end up in the same place. And that kind of
it makes you feel uncomfortable, because then it puts you in a way in the same group of people who commit some of the most heinous acts.
Yeah.
And that makes me uncomfortable. That makes me feel grim.
Being treated the same as people who did better things than you and did worse things than you. Like, this is just how this version of the afterlife works. And I think that it will definitely get people thinking about like that fear around death, and the idea of like what matters to them and stuff, like maybe even spiraling some people into a bit of an existential crisis of what if nothing matters. So we kind of talked a lot about that, like philosophy, and you mentioned
Friedrich Nietzsche. He was a German philosopher, Austrian philosopher.
He was a philosopher.
He was a philosopher, sorry. And this was back in the early to mid 1800s, and he himself believed in nihilism, which in itself, nihilism is the thought of there isn't a point to anything.
Yeah.
There's a point to nothing. Nothing matters. You may as well just die, which is a very dark point of view.
It's not great. Yeah, it's not happy, but it's very similar to this.
But it's very similar to this. It's not the exact same, because I suppose there is a point, but it's very similar in a way that it works, and there's some points which I think you can take out. What I wanted to coin on to is that feeling of emptiness, that feeling of sorrow, and getting that whole vibe and kind of putting it in, the feeling of you're out.
Yeah.
There's no more options. You're just screwed.
Yeah. It's really works well with it. And so you said that you suggested we have a quote at the beginning. Have it start with a blank screen with the sound of like fluorescent lighting, like buzz throughout. And then have words flash up of like our production name, Krusty Santa Productions, and then having the title come up and then having a quote. So we were just scouring for quotes in general.
Yeah.
Like we looked at a bunch. One of them was, well, we've got them here.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go for the other one. We can explain them. It is always consoling to think of suicide in the way that gets through many a bad night.
Yeah. We thought they were really like dark, but also really pertain to the story. But we did end up going a different route with them, just because I kind of had the idea to have used two quotes, one at the beginning and one at the end, and have them complement each other, and the one at the beginning be a lot more like positive or like hopeful, and then the one at the end kind of combat that, to just bring it full circle round to the idea of like everyone goes into the film expecting not necessarily expecting it to be a film about her getting out, but expecting a happy ending, and then when that doesn't happen, just letting that sit with them with a darker quote that combats the one at the beginning. We just felt that would...
Yeah, and it just brings everything down to reality, I think, because it's like one thing I think movies do quite a bit is they glamorize life for what it's not, even if it's like a dark film. And I think it's important to bring people back down to reality every now and then. I think it's important to remember what is and what isn't, and that's especially in the state of world that we're in now. I think you'd need that sorrowful meaning to bring any type of good meaning to life.
The quotes that we ended up going with, the first one is, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow."
The last one, "Hope in reality is the worst of all evils because it probably prolongs the torment of a man."
So we just thought that these quotes, like having them one after the other, just really like woof, because the first one is very like, not hopeful, but it's kind of, it is a bit hopeful. Actually, yeah. You can bear almost anything if you have a will to live. But at the end of our film, our character realizes that she's actually committed suicide and that she didn't have a will to live. So she can't bear anything because she didn't have a will to live in the first place. And it's hopeful, and then you realize at the end, like, oh, wait, actually. And then it really naturally kind of contrasts the last one of hope in reality is the worst of all evils, because the idea that like throughout the film the audience will have hope that she is able to move on almost, or just she'll be able to get out of the situation and figure out a way to make herself feel better, but in the end she doesn't, and it's just prolonged her suffering.
Precisely. And I think it takes away from the idea that hope is always a good thing, when in reality it's not, and it takes it away from the limelight, which I think this piece definitely needs, and I think there is some truth in there, because I don't know, hope is one of those strange things where it gets you through so much, but it also knocks you down like crazy.
And I think that showing that side of suicide and showing that side of sometimes people do feel so hopeless that they commit suicide, and it sucks and it's terrible, and we shouldn't be glamorizing that in
that.
the media, and like that scene in Life is Strange where like she talks like your goal is to talk someone out of killing themselves. It's such a awful thing, like putting someone in that position to like have that conversation.
It's dark and it's twisted, but it's reality. I think that's what I like about Life is Strange, is that is so, not all of it, it's realistic in a way, how dark the mind can actually go, and I think that's what we want to show in this, is the mind is a horrifically dark place, as much as it's beautiful and you get some of the best moments from it. The mind is also the most sick and twisted and dark thing that you can comprehend, really. Yeah.
We're going to be talking a bit more about this and how it affects our plot as well. Like, we're working on, at the moment, just getting a rough outline of the story so we can start with the script and plotting everything out soon. So we'll get that done today, hopefully. And we'll update you later. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello there. We're back.
We're back.
So we started off with the story circle model. I'll put it on screen. Yeah, it's on screen now. Why are you like tickling it? Tickle. The story circle model to map out the overall story and the main 4 acts of the story. It's supposed to be really helpful with creating a short story, but also just any story as well. Like
having a it's helpful to have a plan for it, and that's what it does. I think it gives it a what's the word?
A structure.
That's the one. A structure.
Yeah. So we started off with that, and then we were like, hang on a minute, we actually don't really know what our main character is like at all. So we kind of made like a mini, and we talked about the philosophical conflict. I'm lying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, she is.
We did.
You should be.
We did the philosophical conflict, and like what that was. That actually took us a while to figure out.
That took us a little bit, more than I want to say.
I think that there's so many things that we talk about in the film that it's really difficult to pinpoint one thing that we wanted to say.
One specific message.
I mean, I suppose it helped that we had the quote, but it was also kind of not.
They're there to not. They're there to guide the audience towards the message, not tell it.
Yeah.
So we wanted the philosophical conflict to be, it was called PC.
Yeah.
To be different.
We kind of came up with the idea of the whole short film showing wanting to escape your situation versus the escape being worse than the situation itself, and kind of the regret around that. So yeah, that was our philosophical conflict, or the reality
of not being able to escape your own reality.
Yeah. So we did that.
Existentialism.
And then we were like.
And then.
We don't know what our character's like whatsoever.
Yeah, we realised we had a premise, but then we couldn't go anywhere with it because we didn't bulk out. We just didn't have a character. Yeah, well,
we knew an idea, we had an idea, but we didn't have any solid. We both had our own separate ideas, I think, as well. So we wanted to write it all down. So we made a bit of a character profile.
Me in the middle.
Here. So we first was coming up with names and stuff. And talking about I thought about having a manic pixie dream girl-esque name of she's quirky, but the character itself isn't a manic pixie dream girl, but she comes across as she could be like that and follow that stereotype.
Alternative as well.
Yeah, definitely alternative. We didn't want anything too basic and
too straight going. We wanted someone who's a bit of a character, who's in a sub-genre of that.
Yeah. So we went with Wren, the little bird. Having a name really helped us. It
spiraled us in a good direction.
Yeah, influenced her personality a lot. I looked at like the meanings and kind of like what it means for people called Wren, and it's normally like, because Wren's a songbird, they're fast, bold, hardworking, have strong spirits and are very determined. So we kind of like definitely meshed that with her personality and kind of felt, wait, this really suits our idea of what we had of her already, and also kind of giving us more ideas. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. That scared us.
We're filming. Do you want to say hi to the vlog?
I'll say hi from a. Okay, you're going to put it.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back.
We're
Sorry
back.
about that.
Sorry, apologies.
We're in the printing room.
She's not really sorry. Yeah, we're in a printing room, so it's our mini office. Can you not look at me like that? Get on with the work, then.
Okay. So we literally just Gwen literally just suggested thinking about animal study for this character, because we're really inspired by the animal as a means for her character, and it would definitely be interesting to work with them on some animal study. I've never done animal study before.
I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically a wren bird, but looking at the character, she's very much like an eagle. But I suppose if you're looking at it just from a from a character perspective, and you take away personality and all of that, she's very much like an eagle. She's like, caca.
That's what she says, yeah, caca. Those are all her lines in the entire. We've decided to do that now. That's our new concept.
We're just doing Over the Hedge.
We'll just restart. Oh my gosh, Over the Hedge! I love that film. So other personality types. You said she's definitely a girl's girl. Like.
Yeah, I think she comes across as like that mean girl type of thing, but actually she's like a girl's girl in terms of the sense that she's very much there for her girls.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the type to where I think where she speaks like Eastern European people, and by what I mean by that is they're very blunt, and that's what it is. She's
definitely not like she doesn't come across as soft, but I feel like as well we use that to talk about like why she was like that later, but we'll get onto that in a minute. She definitely comes across as mean. I think at this point, this was when I was like, she reminds me of Maeve from Sex Education. So again, we kind of used a bit of that influence, I think, like when talking about her backstory and her personality and what she likes and what she doesn't like and stuff like that. But again, like, she is a separate person, so we wanted to kind of take inspiration.
Take inspiration, but make her her.
Again, we were already kind of agreed that she was going to have a grandchildren.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know, we didn't even have that conversation.
I think it was just, this is her.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel like that can be in her personality, though. Because that's it's like, yeah, this is me. She's unapologetically herself.
Yeah. So she's like a bit grungy, a bit alternative.
Listens to Nirvana, Deftones, that type of like baggy jeans.
We also definitely think that she is a pessimist.
But she wants to do. She doesn't want to be a pessimist, but she can't help her beliefs.
Yeah.
She doesn't. Yeah, she's very much like, I can't help seeing the way the things that they are. She wants to be, as I called it. I saw this in something years ago. I think she wants to be a hopeless romantic, but because of her experiences, she can't.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Like, that's perfectly summed up. She kind of, she's real though. She's not like overly kind of, overly under ambitious or overly ambitious. Like, she's right in between in the sense that like, she does keep it real. She's like, if she thinks that there's a chance, there's a chance. And if she thinks that there's not a chance, then she'll accept that. So it's kind of will work really well with our story, I think, because we want the audience to believe that she has a chance. And for someone who finds it difficult to give that chance and to have that hope, her character is in, to go through something like that and still have hope, and then at the end realise that
just have it completely taken away.
Yeah. It's really hard for her and for the audience to see. We also gave her one of the 16 personalities types, She is an ISTP, which...
I didn't even know that existed. I didn't realise.
No, yeah.
I only ever thought it was IN or EN.
She's an interesting personality. Like, she's definitely not something... I think...
She's not normal.
No, she's quirky.
She's quirky.
She's different. But she's also the virtuoso, which kind of really fit with the fact that her name means songbird, and she kind of has that kind of creative vibe.
Yeah.
So
I think with Wren, something we discovered is that everything just fell so nicely into
it was so
place.
like...
Everything worked, and I think that was beautiful. And I think she's not to toot her own horn, but I think she's a very, very well developed character.
I think she's got some layers. She's got some...
Just some. There's no way to describe her other than Wren, and I think she knows that, and I think other people know that. She's got her problems, very, very, very much so.
Yeah.
She's dead for a reason.
Well, she's dead for a reason. That sounded so threatening. We immediately were like, we don't want her to have a good childhood. We want her to suffer.
Suffer.
So, we originally went down the route of having her like have her dad not being there and her mum being a drug addict.
That was my idea, but
It's
too
okay.
stereotypical.
It's okay.
My
It's okay.
ideas. I just get
They just
neglected.
suck. I'm kidding. Anyways, so we didn't want her to have a good childhood, but we didn't want it to be...
This is going so well.
Yeah, it's really quiet here.
So well. We need a plaque for our office still. I'll put it on the shutter up.
Yeah,
Think I won't.
shut up, we're in.
Shut up, we're in. God, that's so aggressive.
You sounded so posh when you said it.
Oh, shut up.
Shut up, we're in. Hi.
Hi.
Do you want to say hi to the vlog?
Oh, you're vlog?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, hello. I could hear people when we were there. I hope it was cold.
See you. Have fun today. Yeah. So quiet in the Mexican.
Anyway,
So,
off topic.
we wanted her to have a bad childhood, but we didn't want her to be too unrelatable as a character.
Didn't want to take it too far. It's like pick your chuckles.
Yeah.
That wasn't English.
Yeah, because I feel like having her go through all of this terrible stuff and have it being really like she doesn't have any money, basically like painting her as like the worst scenario, like basically she should be in foster care, but for some reason she's not. Like, it felt unrealistic as well.
We didn't want to push the thing out, and then on top of that, thinking about it now, if you do too much, then it makes it. This sounds so backwards, and hear me out. I hope you get what I mean. It gives suicide a reason.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's like it takes away from the less. It makes it less sad because it's like no wonder she killed herself.
Yeah.
Everything with that. It makes it like an evil
No,
bastard.
but it's in the sense that like lots of people kill themselves and lots of different types of people from different backgrounds. By painting her as someone who had everything terrible happen to her, it kind of makes all of the other people who have depression and have like suicidal thoughts and all that, it kind of invalidates their experiences because it's kind of like, well, did your mum die? Did your dad get addicted to drugs or everything? Well, if they didn't, then you don't deserve to be suicidal. You know what I mean? It just felt a bit invalidating and unrealistic and just not great. So we ended up going for her parents are divorced, so it's not great, but it's definitely not.
But I think it's one of the sadder types of divorce, and it wasn't like they cheated on one another, one was abusive, blah blah blah. It was simply as, and I think this is the saddest thing, just fell out of love.
To kind of really like make it worse for her, because we love doing that. We're so nice. I love playing God. Sometimes it's so fun.
Real life Sims.
Yeah. I'm gonna make her in Sims. That's my new thing. I'm gonna make Wren in Sims. Anyways,
sure.
We kind of had it so that they did actually stay together because of her, and if anything, they had her to fix their marriage because their marriage was already kind of going downhill before she was born, and they almost kind of was like, a child will fix this. And kind of give us something to love.
Happens more than people think.
And then having it so that Wren sees this and is very aware of the fact that her parents don't love each other and they fight all the time and they're not happy, and basically just like her entire childhood was her just like begging them to break up and begging them to divorce already, because it's clear that they were only staying together because of her. And then eventually they did divorce. But as well, we spoke about how that affects her outside of that, and how because of that, she's a very direct person, and she doesn't want to be waiting around forever for stuff. She wants to just like...
Doesn't sugarcoat, it's straight to the point, very straight and narrow in that sense. It's very much like, just tell me, stop yappering, stop sugarcoating. She hates sugarcoating.
She's very defensive when it comes to love. So we were talking about giving her a love interest, and I kind of didn't want to give her a love interest just for the sake of giving her a love interest.
Just for the sake of making conflict.
But the idea of her having an unrequited crush on her best friend just felt too good to deny.
Although contradictory, it works for the story. It works for all of this. Because having her be rejected, so we kind of had the idea that she kissed her best friend, and her best friend was like, whoa, what? Hold up, wait
Hang on a minute.
Someone ain't right.
Got rejected, and then the next time she saw her best friend didn't mention it and acted like everything was normal. And I just feel like that it would hit harder, you know, just having that kind of...
It makes the soul hurt a little bit.
Yeah. So this kind of like unspoken, like hurt, pain, love, rejection is kind of playing on her mind a bit. So she's got that. She's got the like difficulty with her parents not cooperating, like just her and herself unlucky in love.
Everything goes wrong.
Yeah, and along with that, her parents don't support her music career that we've given her. Well,
if they're grungy alternative, they're a bit gay, all of that. I think they've got to be artsy.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a bit weird if they were a lawyer or a doctor.
No, yeah. We immediately were like, kind of music, poetry, writing stuff, but she wants to be doing that, but she can't be doing that because her parents don't approve.
They'll kick her out if she does it.
And then that's why she feels like at this point she has no escape. And then along with that, she has depression. She's already depressed, just like chemical imbalances and stuff. And her meds don't make anything better because they only make her feel nothing. And it's just kind of...
But she doesn't want to feel nothing, because feeling nothing is typically worse than feeling
something.
Than feeling pain.
Yeah. So that's her. That's Wren.
Then it's like, okay, we know where we're going. We know how to write this.
So we started kind of mapping out the
theme of the story.
Structure.
You're welcome.
The structure. Thank you. I did that to you earlier as well, and I said structure.
We finish each other's brains.
Sandwiches. That's what I was gonna say. I never met someone who thinks so much like me. Jinx. Jinx again.
Stop the yapping. Get done with the
Oh. I'll bleep that out. Naughty Guinevere. So this is our plan. What we did was we kind of took the whole story, put it on the circle. Let's speed this up because this video is going to be super long.
It's like my vlogs.
We split it up. Yes. We split it up. We took the whole story and put it onto the story circle and came up with the structure of we'll put pictures of it. I'll put a picture of it on the screen. So this is the structure of the main thing. And then what we did was we split it into 4 acts that we felt would go together. So 1 and 2 on the story circle, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. They link really nicely together. So we made their own individual story circles. Well, we started making them, we didn't finish.
To make
because it's getting late, so we need to go home.
Holy God.
It's okay.
Good work.
So we've made the first 2 quadrants. So we're about halfway there. for each of the things, which again I'll put on screen so it's easier to see. And yeah, that's what we've done. So
yeah, that's what we've done so far. Banging.
Do more tomorrow.
Do more tomorrow.
Woo.
So that I can make money and she can die at home. Well, what else you do? Just like bed rot.
Read fan fiction.
Yeah, of course you do. She reads fan fiction.
I've been reading so much, it's really bad, but
you need to stop.
I need to get a life.
You get a job. Right.
Whack. Whack. Whack.
Welcome to our office.
It's so great, so quiet.
By the time you
So
come back, I'm going to make
peaceful.
a plaque.
We should make a plaque.
I'm not joking.
We've been talking about that all day.
I just want a plaque.
She wants a plaque. Anyways, so we'll see you.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Don't die. Be safe.
Bye.